I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda. Change for good. And I embrace that and I enjoy that change. I don't fear it.
If you've scrolled past a headline this week claiming Meghan Markle has been stripped of all titles by Prince William, you're not alone. Videos like this are flooding social media right now, complete with dramatic music, whispered narration, and scenes of brothers facing off in palace rooms. They sound urgent. They sound confirmed. And millions of people are watching them, sharing them, and believing every word. But here's the uncomfortable truth. None of it happened. Not the confrontation, not the signed document, not the final step. So let's talk about what's actually going on, why these stories keep appearing, and what the real situation is between Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and the House of Windsor. First, the facts, because they matter more than the fiction. As of today, Meghan Markle is still, legally and officially, the Duchess of Sussex. That title was granted to her by the late Queen Elizabeth II in 2018, on her wedding day, and it has never been revoked. Prince Harry remains the Duke of Sussex. Neither title has been touched. What did change, back in 2020, was something more specific and far less dramatic than tabloids make it sound. Harry and Meghan agreed to stop using the style His and Her Royal Highness in a professional or official capacity. That's different from losing a title entirely. Think of it like this. A retired judge doesn't stop being called the Honourable just because they've stepped down from the bench, but they might stop presiding over cases. Harry and Meghan kept their names and their rank. What they gave up was the day-to-day function of representing the monarchy in public life. So why do so many videos claim otherwise? The answer has a lot to do with timing. In recent months, real news did shake the royal family, specifically the removal of titles from Prince Andrew following his connections to serious scandal. That was a genuine, documented action, carried out through an official legal mechanism called letters patent, which is the formal method a monarch uses to strip or grant royal status. Once that happened, commentators, tabloids, and content creators immediately began asking the obvious question. If the king can do this to Andrew, could Harry and Meghan be next? That question is fair. It's the kind of question journalists are supposed to ask. But somewhere between could this happen and today's flood of confident, breathless videos, speculation quietly turned into fabrication. Words like sources say and royal experts believe got dropped. Suddenly you had scripts describing exact conversations between William and Harry, exact wording of legal documents, exact reactions from Catherine and Camilla, none of which any actual journalist has reported, because none of it has actually happened. This is worth pausing on, because it says something important about how information moves today. A real story. Commentators speculate Harry and Meghan's titles could be at risk, is only mildly interesting. It requires nuance. It requires the word might. But strip away the uncertainty, add a countdown clock and a dramatic voice, and suddenly you have 3 minutes ago, William confirms. One version respects the truth. The other version gets clicks. And unfortunately, on platforms built to reward watch time, the version that gets clicks tends to win, regardless of whether it's accurate. It's also worth understanding who benefits from these fabricated stories, because it's rarely just about entertainment. Channels producing this kind of content are often optimized purely for engagement. Long, dramatic narration keeps viewers watching. Cliffhanger about a brother confrontation or a signed royal document encourage people to stay until the end. Every minute watched, every like, every subscribe, translates into advertising revenue. The people, real people, being written about in these invented scenes don't see a cent of it, and often don't even know the content exists. Meghan Markle has never issued a statement about being stripped of titles, because there was never anything to respond to. Prince William has never held a press conference confirming a decision that was never made. These are not people reacting to a real event. They are characters in a story someone else wrote for profit. That doesn't mean there's no real tension inside the royal family. There clearly is, and it's been unfolding publicly for years. The rift between Harry and William is well documented, dating back to before Harry and Meghan's departure from royal duties in 2020. There have been genuine disagreements about privacy, about media coverage, about the couple's choice to build an independent life and brand in the United States. King Charles has, at various points, tried to manage reconciliation between his sons, particularly during his own health struggles. None of that is invented. What's invented is the idea that this ongoing, messy, human situation has suddenly resolved itself into one dramatic afternoon where documents get signed and titles get erased. Real institutional change, especially inside a centuries-old monarchy, doesn't move that way. It moves through formal legal processes, government involvement, and public announcements from verified sources, not through vague viral videos with stock photos and AI-generated narration. So how can you tell the difference between real royal news and content like this? There are a few reliable signs. First, look at the language. Genuine reporting uses careful, sourced language. Phrases like "according to a statement from Buckingham Palace" or "Reuters confirms" point to something traceable. Vague phrases like "insiders reveal" or "sources close to the family say," especially when stacked one after another with no name attached, are a warning sign. Second, check whether the story appears on more than one credible outlet. Actual royal announcements, especially something as significant as stripping a duchess of her title, would be covered simultaneously by the BBC, Reuters, the Associated Press, and major British newspapers within minutes. If a claim this big only exists on a single YouTube channel or an obscure blog, that tells you something. Third, be suspicious of dramatized dialogue. No credible outlet has access to a private, unwitnessed conversation between William and Harry, word for word, complete with tone and body language. When you see that level of narrative detail, you're not reading journalism. You're reading fiction dressed up as news. It's also worth thinking about the human cost of this kind of content, even when it feels harmless. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are real people, with real children, navigating a genuinely difficult family situation in public. So is Prince William, who has spoken candidly in the past about the pressure of his future role. Turning their private pain into invented melodrama for entertainment isn't a neutral act. It shapes public opinion based on events that never occurred. It fuels harassment and hostility toward real people based on decisions they never made. And it erodes trust in legitimate journalism, because when audiences get used to fabricated breaking news, they start doubting real breaking news too. None of this means the royal family is above scrutiny or that legitimate questions about the future of the monarchy shouldn't be asked. Should hereditary titles be reserved only for working royals? Should a modern monarchy modernize how it handles family members who step back from official duties? These are genuinely interesting, complex questions, and serious commentators are asking them. But asking a question honestly looks very different from answering it with an invented scene of a king signing a secret document while his son watches in silence. So where does that leave things right now, today? Meghan Markle is the Duchess of Sussex. Prince Harry is the Duke of Sussex. Their children, Archie and Lilibet, hold princely titles following their grandfather's accession to the throne. No letters patent have been issued removing any of these titles. Speculation about what might happen once William eventually becomes king is exactly that, speculation, and it will likely continue for years, especially after the precedent set by Andrew's case. But speculation is not confirmation, and a YouTube video's dramatic countdown clock is not a palace announcement. If you came here because that headline caught your attention, that's understandable. It was designed to. But hopefully this gives you a clearer, more honest picture of what's actually true, what's still uncertain, and what was simply made up for views. The real royal story is messier, slower, and far less cinematic than the fake one. But it has the one thing the fabricated version never will. It's true. Thanks for watching. If you'd rather get grounded, fact-checked royal coverage instead of manufactured drama, consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Here's a condensed 300-word version. 3 minutes ago, Prince William confirms Meghan stripped of all titles. The truth. If you've seen a headline claiming Meghan Markle has been stripped of all titles by Prince William, here's the truth. It didn't happen. Meghan is still, officially, the Duchess of Sussex, a title given to her by Queen Elizabeth in 2018 that has never been revoked. Harry remains the Duke of Sussex too. What actually changed, back in 2020, was smaller than tabloids suggest. Harry and Meghan agreed to stop using his and Her Royal Highness professionally. They kept their titles, they gave up official royal duties. So why do these videos keep appearing? Because real news, like Prince Andrew losing his titles over serious scandal, got people asking could Harry and Meghan be next? That's a fair question. But somewhere along the way, commentators speculate turned into William confirms, with invented dialogue, fake signed documents, and dramatic countdown clocks added purely to drive clicks and add revenue. There are real tensions in the royal family. That part isn't fiction. But genuine institutional change happens through formal legal processes and verified statements, not secret midnight signings dramatized by anonymous YouTube narrators. How to spot the fakes. Watch for vague insiders reveal language, Check if major outlets like the BBC or Reuters are reporting it, and be skeptical of word-for-word private conversations no one could have witnessed. Bottom line, Meghan is still the Duchess of Sussex. Nothing has been signed, confirmed, or stripped. The real story is slower and messier than the fake one, but it's true. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for real royal coverage, not manufactured drama.